Hello, Superwoman. We are here today with Shannon. And when you hear her Superwoman story, you're going to be standing up in your chair or on your couch cheering, yeah, girl, get it. She is an experienced trial lawyer, mama, and world explorer. But what I love best about Shannon is she is unapologetically herself and is not afraid to wear a pair of pants. Tell us all about it, Shannon.
Well, Gillian, thank you so much for having me. Love what you've created here, this space for women to really embrace what makes them unbelievably awesome, right? I think that so many times we have these overpowering gifts and we try to box them because the world tells us to box them. No, we need to stand on a mountain and scream from a rooftop and be like, look how awesome I am, right? And so I know that we've had a chance to chat prior, but I'll never forget, I'm a trial lawyer. I do criminal defense. So I do everything from traffic tickets to, first degree murder. And I've done that for the last 15 years. But when I started, just like when you start anything, you're getting your feet wet, you're getting your feet underneath you, you're kind of figuring out who you are. So I started working for a firm and I started working for a guy, and it's my first trial. And the trial couldn't be any more serious. And so I was the most prepared one in that courthouse. Let me just tell you what. So I'm walking in, it's day one of trial. And the consequences, like if we lose this trial, my client's going to prison for the rest of his life. So like the weight is on the shoulders here, right? I am like, I got to come and knock this out of the park. I'm about to give the opening statement for this trial. So I'm walking in and I just hear my boss say, "What the hell are you wearing?" So I'm looking, I have a brand new heather gray pantsuit on from Banana Republic. So my vice in life is coffee. I will not disclose on this platform how much I drink because that is none of your business. It is too much. No, but so I'm thinking first thought, I spilled coffee all over myself. Great job, Shannon. So I'm looking down, not a drop. So I'm so confused and I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Women don't wear pants. Women wear dresses or skirts." And I sat back and I said, "Oh, I must have missed that memo, that, handbook that taught women that that's what they were supposed to do as a lawyer." And I thought to myself, today's about the client, right? And so whatever your little weird women expectations are, save it for after, right? Don't jeopardize my headspace going
Mhm.
into this for your expectation of women. And so I still went in there and kicked everybody's ass. Okay. Let me just tell you that. But I just thought, come on, man. Like, so from that day forward, I was like, oh, no, no. Not only will I wear the pantsuit when I want to, I'm going to wear the loudest, tallest, coolest pair of shoes to go with it you've ever seen. And let me, to this day, I'm known. My second vice from coffee are my stilettos. I call them my kits. I got way too many kits. They're way too expensive. They have their own room actually organized. And I buy the suits to match the shoes. But I just thought, "Oh, no, no, no. We don't put women in boxes. We don't tell them what to wear, tell them how, what tone to speak in, do whatever." So that was my first, like, not only am I gonna open my own firm, so I make sure that I do it on my terms, I'm going to empower other women to know, wear the damn pair of pants. Like, embrace it.
I
Mhm.
love it. Now, bring us back to when I spoke to you first. I think you're in Peru.
Yes. So
Tell us about that travel.
my favorite thing in the world is taking my kids around the world, just going and exploring. And I think that the best education that you can give them is different cultures and different experiences, right? So I my daughter is 4, my son is 5, and I think they have about 25 stamps in their passport already. And so, we every place we go, they speak different languages, but the same language is love, right? So, the smiles and the hugs and just the amazing experiences they have. It's so phenomenal watching them really embrace other cultures, and I think that we sometimes forget how lucky we are sitting over here in America, and going to these different places and seeing how people live and seeing how they are so appreciative with so little. is just such a great experience to give the kids at such young ages.
I love that. Now, did you know kind of before you had kids that you're like, "Okay, we're gonna be a traveling family," or did it just kind of come?
No, I was traveling before kids. I've just always been fascinated with the world. When I grew up, my mom supported my dad through his, like, career building phase, if you will, and then he moved on after that. So, my mom kinda sacrificed her education, her career that she was building for him, and she had, goals about traveling and places that she wanted to see, and then with that abrupt departure, those didn't take place. So I made it a goal to myself when I finished college and was going into law school that I was going to take her around the world to see as many places as possible. So so far I think I've taken her to Peru, Croatia, Ireland, Portugal. Some are escaping me. But I just try to take her, every year somewhere amazing just so she can see the world as well. So again, you gotta grab the super women and you gotta empower them. Well, that was something that was really, really important to me. So I started doing that before children.
I love that, and you talk about your family, your mother, your twin sister. What influences did you have around you that you're like, "I wanna be a criminal child lawyer," because there's not a Barbie for that.
There is not a Barbie. There should be. Maybe I'll create one now that you say it. But no, I was actually my twin and I were the first to graduate college from either side of my family, and then I was the first postgraduate. So I'm gonna age myself real quick, but I was watching, the O.J. Simpson trial as a child, and I was like, "I don't know what's happening here, but I'm gonna do this. Like, this is what I" yes. And so I'm, like, watching these people get up in court, and it's crazy, and their gloves and all of this stuff, and everybody is, advocating for all of this stuff, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do." And so all through schooling, I was on the debate team. I loved everybody would pick a position on a topic, and I would say, "Okay, everybody's over here. I'm gonna be the only one over here." And my, like, goal was to see how many people by the end of class I could get to come to the other side. It was so fun. It was, like, something I loved doing. And so, from a young age, I was always just, fighting for the underdog or fighting the unpopular fight and seeing what I could do with it. And so, I didn't really know in law school what like, I knew I wanted to be in court, but I didn't necessarily know, was that a prosecutor? Was that a defense attorney? And so I always said I was the biggest nerd in law school. I was the vice president all 3 years in my law school. So I had all the incoming students that would come and I would talk to them and I would tell them the best way to find what you want to do in life is to discover what you don't want to do. And so I would tell them, "Go intern everywhere. Go" you think you wanna be a civil lawyer, you will never leave your desk, you'll push papers all day long, go see if that's really it for you. Go intern there, right? And so you can check that off the box real fast, like, "Nope, I'm good." I fell asleep 7 times at my desk, right? So and maybe that is it for some people, like, one of my closest friends became a tax lawyer, and she's like, "I could never do what you do." Like, I'm like, "Listen, I if someone buzzed my phone and they said, someone just murdered someone, they want to talk to you on line 1, I'd be like, put them through. If you buzz me and you say the IRS is on line 2, I'm gonna be like, tell them I'm not here. Tell them I'm at lunch. I'm not here. Like, so we all gotta pick the things that scare us or the things we don't want to do. Numbers and all that stuff. Thank you. So yeah, that's how I got into it.
I love that, and it kinda comes back to, we're all different, and it's just embracing our different through you started us out with the global love language of love,
Yes.
and, just kind of embracing who we are, and I think a lot of girls I say this because I had this problem, have a hard time when they've decided something that maybe is atypical at owning it and seeing it through. Can you give us a story of how you did that?
You know, I absolutely think that we do. I think that we, from a very young age, are conditioned to talk a certain way, act a certain way, do certain things to make everyone else comfortable. And when you really think about it, I mean, you were born you. Like, everything that's in you, your ticks, your funny little quirks, all of those things, some people are, when they see people like, look, maybe they're looking because 'cause they're like, wow, that like really makes them stand out. But we get so subconscious and we get so self-conscious about it. And we think like, oh, everybody's looking, so I better tone it down. Right. I have judges all the time that are like, Miss Roy, you gotta bring the volume down. And I'm like, oh no, no, this is my voice. So what I can do, you're on, I can step back from the microphone, but I can't change it. I got one volume. Okay. So I always like there is just this one male judge and I know I'm too much for him and that's okay. But I am just enough for me. And I am the perfect amount. So I say all the time, like I will never. So I will back it up from the mic. I'll even turn the mic around. I don't need the mic, okay? But I'm gonna be right here at this volume because this is the volume that I was born with, okay? And so and it's funny because when you say that, sometimes it's not the men that judge us the hardest. It's the other women, right? And that's so sad and it makes me really sad. And that's one of the reasons I really try to mentor and empower young women because stop judging each other. Like we're only judging out of hurt. We're only judging out of lack. Like we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. And so when we look at somebody, when I was very first starting out, I had a very senior attorney. She came up to me and she was like, yeah, you're too much. You got to tone it down. You got to like wear quieter suits and like pull your hair back or something. Like if you want to be taken serious, don't be so pretty. And I just thought like, first of all, no one's going for pretty. I'm going for prepared. I'm going for, you know, being zealous for my client. And so the comment was such a backhanded whatever she was dealing with, that's fine. But I just thought, like, how sad because she's a phenomenal attorney. But whatever hurt and whatever insecurity she had, she just took it out on me, right? And instead of empowering another woman to go and be fierce and be her and be strong, she tried to belittle me for it. And I just thought, ah, no, man, we all again God did not mess up when he gave me red hair. He literally lit a fire under my ass when I was born, and it came out the flames came out right on top, and so I'm gonna keep burning and keep, blazing until till it's my last day, because that's how we should. No one is ever gonna love us as much as we should love ourselves. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to embrace us, and then on that journey of being unapologetically you, being so fierce, you're going to realize women are just flocking to you because they're empowered by what you're doing. And all of a sudden, you just have this army of strong, amazing women, as it should be, right? Hmm.
You're right, we do as a community, as women, we tend to if someone's crown is kind of falling, we go, "Sorry, I didn't mean to elbow that off your head." That seems to be the natural response versus, "Oh, girl, let me straighten this. Don't even mention it. Just do it and keep going." And I was talking with another guest about it because she studied women and biology and culture and all that. And basically, her theory was it's kind of a survival thing that
Absolutely.
women for so long, and you could even argue in today's society as well, are just dependent on their man to go kill the bison for them or, row the boat across the river or, whatever it is, that there's that fear that another woman is going to take your provider from you. And it's like, okay, how do we tell our bodies, girl, it's 2026 now. How can we be like, it's okay. If someone takes your man, you got it. Like, no worries.
And if someone takes your man, he wasn't yours to begin with, right? So I just think when you love yourself and when you are walking in your truth and when you are literally serving the purpose you were born to do, no one could take anything from you. Like I am so rooted in who I am and in my family and all of that. I don't I think my husband is the most attractive thing that has ever walked this planet. Let me tell you what. And I see that other women do too. And I am like, girl, your eyes are not wrong. Good for you looking over here, right? Like looking at him is like complimenting the amazing Italian stilettos I got on my feet right now. Okay. Because they're all a part of me. And So you're not, if you're worried about the steal, that means again, we're not seeing the world as it is, we're seeing the world as we are. If we are walking around thinking that everything we have can be taken, it means that we're not focused on the power that we have inside. The sun is not worried that it has to go down every night so that the moon can shine. It's going to shine its ass off all day long. And then tomorrow it's going to rise and shine again. And it is not worried about that star might be looking a little brighter than me. No, it is shining all day long. Girl, go out and shine. Don't be worried about who can take, because guess what? Somebody might be able to take your position at work. Somebody might come and repo your car. Somebody might do whatever. Like somebody is going to come and marry your daughter and they might move across the world with her. Somebody is going to come and marry your son and they might move somewhere far. Nothing in life you can control except for yourself. So stop worrying about everybody else and just worrying about being the best version of yourself. And I think that if we all just focused on ourselves, no outside circumstances, no outside people, anything could shake us. Anything could make us insecure, anything like that. So I think it really goes back to loving ourselves, being rooted in ourselves and knowing exactly who we are and leading with that every single day.
That analogy with the sun, I'm gonna find, like, you know, cocktail napkins? That needs to be on a cocktail napkin. Like, that is just that's we'll find a way for marketing to print those, and we'll tag your name. So I want to talk about starting your law firm. So you get the idea in your head,
Mhm.
and you're like, "All right, girl, we're gonna do this." And then how was the conversation with your husband, and how do you handle those dynamics?
You know, it was so funny. So I worked at that firm for 5 years before. And when I finally went to leave, I had literally just been treated so poorly that I lost like my confidence. And it makes me so angry at myself to even say that. But I even started to say, like, do I even want to do this area of law? Am I good enough to do it? Because that was the kind of mentality that was, the atmosphere every day. And so I'll never forget I went and interviewed at a construction defect firm, literally just pushing dirt around, okay, and looking at it.
Okay, I wanted to
So
make sure that my head was in the right place. Okay.
yeah, and so I'm sitting with this guy and we get done this like hour interview and he was like, "Let me tell you something. You can have the job if you want it, but I am telling you don't take this job. You need to be in a courtroom. You have this energy, this fire." And it was like God must have like just set this interview up for me for
Mhm,
me this person for him to tell me and remind me who the hell I was,
mhm.
because I left there and I was like, "What are you doing?" And I went, I never looked back. I started my own firm. And my husband, he always reminds me who I am. And he was the one that was like, you should have people working for you. You should be building this empire, right? Where you just have where you mentor these younger attorneys and you grow this. And so it was through that experience and through the unwavering support and love there that I was like, you know what, I can do this. And all of a sudden I reached out to judges to let them know. And they were like, well, it's about damn time, Shannon. And so it was amazing just to see how much support and how much they, valued me and the work that I did, and they saw how hard I was working for my clients. And so I think sometimes we just have to remember who we are. And again, saw this quote yesterday that said, like, be really careful who you're around because influences don't announce themselves. And so we don't know when we're being influenced, right? But you sit around five broke people as a millionaire and you will become the sixth broke person, right? You sit around five alcoholics, you will become the sixth alcoholic. And so it doesn't, I love that influence doesn't announce itself. We become who we're around. And so be in an environment where everyone is lifting you up and everybody is speaking life into each other. If you notice people getting jealous when you succeed at something or you have a win, that's not your circle. That's a cage. And they don't want you to rise above them, right? No, I'm the one clapping the loudest. I'm gonna be whoo, whoo, whoo in the back over here when something happens great for anybody I'm around, right? And that's what you want. You want people to lift you higher, people to, because it's, It's not your turn today for the victory. It's their turn. And tomorrow they're going to be clapping when it's your turn. And so that's how it should be. Success should be something that's like addictive and like so amazing. And everybody's like, man, this is beautiful, right? It's not a competition. Life, I always say your life is not a community project. I don't need your input. I don't need your input. I don't need your applause, because if you live for the applause, you'll die by the booze. And so, like, if you only can survive based on likes or based on people always giving affirmation or validation, when you are lacking that, you're going to spiral. It's going to be horrible for you. So, love yourself, give yourself, man, be the number one person cheering in your corner for yourself, and you'll never need anyone else to validate you.
I love those quotes. The way that you articulate those concepts is definitely cocktail napkins in the making, but they're so easy to understand.
That's an enterprise here. I think we're really onto something big together here.
But, like, in your entryway where when your clients are waiting, there's be a little gift shop in the corner.
Sure, right? For sure. I'm like, "Oh, those right there? Yeah, I sell them in bulk. Let me
Yeah.
get you."
Get a napkin hand towel for your guest bath too.
Yes,
It
yes,
it
we're gonna
brings
try to keep you out of prison and decorate your home. I got
exactly.
you.
I mean, well, who can offer that? I mean, that is just, I mean, full service all the
That's
way.
one-stop shop over here.
I love so talking kind of about full service. Let's say someone's listening right now and they want to find you online. They want to learn more about you. What kind of projects you have going on? Where can they find you online?
So the law firm is www.roydefense.com, and that's ROY defense.com. And then me and my husband also, we do speaking, we do coaching, we do stuff like that. So we're at polaroppositelife.com. So we, again, as many people as we can get out to. We also talk a lot to people about like co-parenting and stuff like that, because it's so important, right? As parents, whether you're together, whether you're not together, raising healthy children. And again, because the focus is love, right? So if the children know they're loved, regardless of what mom and dad's relationship is, that's the most important thing in the whole world. So those are just some things that I'm super passionate about. And you can catch me on the socials and see where I'm traveling to, because let me tell you, the world is our playground. So I make sure that we see as many places as possible. The other day I was in South America. When we first met, we were in Peru, and the court needed me to jump online for something, and I was like literally in the middle of like a llama farm. So I'm like, oh, this is cool. So I didn't turn my camera on, but I'm on, and like a llama like screams in the back of the court, was like, "What was that, Miss Roy?" I was like, "Oh, nothing, just clearing my throat. We're good. What was that, Your Honor?" What? Like, I'm not gonna be like, "Your Honor, it was a wild llama." And that same llama turned around and spit on my son like 30 seconds later. So I was like, "We got a lot going on here. What did you need, Your Honor?" Like, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. So it's never a dull moment over here. Never.
I love it. There's a llama in the
There's
background. Never mind the llama.
Don't even mind. Don't even mind. Just keep whatever you gotta say, Your Honor. I'm here to listen. So
We do have and I know you and I hadn't planned to talk about this, but since you kind of opened it up a little bit, we do have a lot of our listeners who are going through co-parenting situations. And I think the biggest thing I hear from them is there's still there's the controlling high conflict one, and then there's the normal rational one. And the normal rational one still can't understand that the controlling one is never going to change. Do you have any advice for those listeners and kind of how to find peace and love in that scenario?
I think that you just have to keep showing up as you, because if you keep showing up, the child is going to see that no matter what the other person does, it goes back to what I was saying about loving yourself, right?
Oh,
If you are always rooted in yourself, listen, there was something that made me want to have this child with you. And I know sometimes it's just a late night at the bar, and that was unexpected outcome. But it still happens. But if you keep maintaining your character, your integrity, your love, that's what the child sees, right? And I think we're so people get so miserable because they spend their whole life trying to change another person. I'm never going to change you. Whether you're amazing and I'm miserable and I'm trying to change you to be miserable like me, or whether you're miserable and I'm great and I'm trying to bring you up. I got to just worry about me. I literally can't. The people, like I said, if you put your Superwoman cape on and you walk unapologetically in your 4-inch stilettos right down the street, your women are going to find you and you're going to have a stiletto march going on and you're going to be just dominating the world. And the same with co-parenting, right? If you show up with love, because one day your children are going to be old enough to realize what's happened and they're going to be able to see for themselves, right? And so they're going to be able to see, I treat everyone involved in this with the most utmost respect, love. And I think, another parent can try to brainwash, belittle, do all of that. But if the child keeps seeing you show up and never let it get under your skin and never waver and never try to tit tat or get back or go down to their level, the child is going to start seeing that. And then it's like, okay, your story that you're saying over here isn't making sense because I can see how they're showing up. I can see that they try. I can see that they always invite you to the birthday party and they always do this and I've never heard them say a bad word about you. So again, I think that it goes back to really focusing on you because you are all you can control. And hopefully the other parent then meets you at that, amazing playing field where then everything is focused on the child because in a perfect world, that's where their maturity would lead them. But if not, at least that that's what you're bringing to your child. That's what you're bringing to the situation. And all you can do is you.
I love that advice, and I love that it is a consistent thread in everything that you model. It starts with you first, and you
Absolutely.
gotta get that house in order. But then once you've got that house in order, you can just do anything. I had the most random ADD visual when you were talking about the construction interview. I had this visual of you, like, climbing on one of those caterpillar backhoe things with, like, hot pink high heels on, and I was like, "How is she gonna air and like, no, like, this isn't gonna work."
So that just reminded me of the funniest story. So I'm in law school and I'm interning at the district attorney's office. And so I was interning with like a DA that was over like the drug task force and all this. And so I show up and I'm in purple stilettos and this like outfit, like purple top, but like I think the suit was black. And all of a sudden she's like, "Oh, we're doing a ride along with like the SWAT team." And I was like, "Okay, okay." So we get in and we're like in this car going, and everybody is putting like SWAT vests on and all this. Again, purple stilettos. So I'm like, "Do I need one of those? I don't." And they were like, "Oh, you got," and I was like, "Nobody told me. Okay. Nobody told me today we're doing ride along." So they're like kicking in doors, going and doing all this. And here I'm like running behind, no vest with like purple heels. I'm like, little heads up next time, guys. Okay. Like, would I have still worn them? Probably so. But at least I would have known. But it was so fun. You see this huge SWAT team. Everybody is geared up as possible. And here comes like little Shannon running behind in her purple stilettos, like, what are we doing next? Like, it was, I think about it all the time. It was so random, but so funny and so fun.
But you didn't fall apart, you didn't, like, go, "Oh, well, sorry, let's do this now." You just stepped up and did it, like, as
It was
you in your purple stilettos.
And that's what you got to do, right? I mean, the world is going to throw us curveballs all the time. If we sat down and moped and cried every time something didn't go our way, we would never get out of our chairs, right? Poor me, pity party, give me another pint of
Mhm.
ice cream. Oh my gosh. If we think about life as like, that wasn't my door and that one slammed right in my face because that amazing door right there is about to open up and the possibilities that are coming. So if you always look at it as not a closed door, but always an unlocked, potential just waiting right around the corner, life gets really exciting, right? It's the journey, it's not the destination. We always focus on the destination. And so when it doesn't happen, we're like, well, this wasn't supposed to happen, right? Because something so much better is coming. So live today, embrace today, love today, and be so excited about what this is bringing, like what it's leading up to, because we don't know, but it's going to be great. I promise you that.
Normally, I set my guests up to kind of have, "What do you wanna leave our listeners with today?" And you just did it perfectly. You just gave the perfect, the kind of lasting thought for folks to think about if they're on the treadmill or in their car. And so
Yes.
we'll be sure we'll put all of her contact information, her socials, especially for her and her husband speaking opportunities. I know a lot of our listeners are event planners and organizers. So it's so good to have folks in our community that do, things like this. And I love the messaging that you share. And it's just been such a joy to hear your story. And it sounds silly, but to be a role model for little girls that want to do something that's not, there's no Barbie for.
No.
And you are a great model for that in not only how you do it, but just in doing something that there's no Barbie for.
Yes.
And because I feel like there are so many little girls that are just like, "Oh, what?" And so you have just been a joy having on, and I have just loved our conversation today and our conversation we had before we were on recording.
Well, Jillian, the pleasure was all mine. I love the space that you created for women. I love this message that you bring that everybody shares a different position. But again, if you collectively look at it, it's just a bunch of kick-ass women doing kick-ass things. And we're all here lifting each other up and it's phenomenal. So keep doing what you're doing and creating this space for women.
I love it. Thank you. All right, y'all. We will
Yeah.
see you at our next episode.
Thanks.